Bills of lading and proof of delivery. We're going to talk about that on this segment of the Gig Geezer. I invite you to join the damn conversation this Wednesday, February 26th, 2025 at 9 o'clock Eastern, as I'll be speaking with you. That's right. I'll be speaking with you again for a second week in a row, in which I'll be offering free game to y'all, in which I'll be answering questions in the delivery and transport space, gig app space, gig economy space, and even for just practicality, small business space. And I'll even throw in insurance since as many well know that I am a licensed insurance agent. So again, I'll be speaking with you this Wednesday, February 26, 2025 at 9 o'clock Eastern, and hopefully you will be joining the damn conversation. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, or if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. The source for this segment comes from RIGCH83. He is a viewer and subscriber of the Gig Geezer channel, and he posed this question to me. Can I do a video about bill of ladings and proof of delivery and how to manage the pitfalls of working with some companies? Well, hopefully what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer that first question about bills of lading and proofs of delivery. Hopefully I will maybe answer a question or two that you have when it comes to the pitfalls of working with some companies. This is something that I content that I actually uploaded back in 2023. Whereas then I uploaded a video after a handful of completed opportunities. This one serves as an update because I've got 2 years experience behind me. A bill of lading, and it's a shipping term for what's said on land, which is a receipt. It confirms by definition that the carrier has accepted and delivered goods for shipment. It also shows who is in actual ownership of the freight and cargo. Now, what does a bill of lading mean to you and me? It is a document that must be produced when asked by the broker. It requires a signature from the carrier, which would be me or you, who's doing the delivery and transport, and the person who's in receipt of the freight or cargo. Now, I'll get back to additional commentary about a bill of lading, but what I also want to do at this juncture is introduce the following terms: delivery order, rate confirmation sheet, factoring, net 30, other modes of payment, and since this was mentioned by a responder following the question that was posed to me, airway bill documents. As a practice by some, the carrier, someone like you or me, would check all items being loaded into their vehicle against a bill of lading or delivery order. There are many situations in which a delivery order is all that you're given. So let me show you first a bill of lading, and then I'll show you a delivery order. All right. Now, this bill of lading that you see here is an actual one that I completed back in November 2024. I can tell you that this was an opportunity in which I went to a freight forwarder, but this was the bill of lading that was given to me. A bill of lading is going to vary according to the sheet, but it's going to have some basic information: where it is shipped from, where it's going to. It may have the broker or even the carrier's name, which would be mine in certain situations. But more importantly, it's going to have the actual item or items being shipped. In this case, it was a regular pallet and one item, the total weight being 96 pounds. That was the bill of lading. And in this situation, since it was going to a freight forwarder, this was all that was needed. So other bills of ladings are going to look completely different. Again, it all varies according to who has generated that form. Now, what then is a delivery order? A delivery order is a document that indicates to whom the goods and items are to be delivered to. It is a signed delivery order in many situations is a proof of delivery. And that's going to be a signature from me, the carrier, or you, and the person who is in receipt. Now I'm going to show you an example of a delivery order. So this is a delivery order that I actually had. And if you really look closely, you'll see what date it is. It's actually February 19, 2025, but the actual delivery date was February 21st, 2025. And so it says at the top there, delivery order. It says get goods available at, but this is one that's generated by an actual freight forwarding company. It was actually available at a freight forwarder in Charlotte, but then it was delivered to Lugoff, South Carolina. For whatever it's worth, Lugoff, South Carolina is just outside of the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area, and for the gig geezer, basically 15 minutes from his front door. Actually, 15 minutes from the Geezer Studios. And so there's some additional information that you see on there, but the main thing is the goods description. There was 2 pallets totaling about 700 plus pounds. It shows in metric kilograms, but it was about 700. Well, about 8, actually 2.2, but yeah, about 700 plus pounds. So that is a delivery order. Now, one thing I will tell you at this juncture, there are a couple of things that I would recommend that you actually have in your cache of things that help you with conducting your business. First one is downloading Adobe Scan. You can download that onto your phone. You then can photo scan. Documents so that you can email it to whomever you need to email it to. In most cases, it's going to be a broker or a carrier. Another thing you may want to consider is the DocuSign utility. DocuSign, there's an app that can be downloaded, but then DocuSign can be accessed online. DocuSign allows you to apply an electronic signature to documents. This is something that I first learned of back in 2016 as an insurance agent. I've since used it in delivery and transport when a signature is needed, mainly on a rate confirmation sheet, which is the next item that I'm going to show you. Now, many of you should be familiar with a rate confirmation sheet, in that this is how you get paid. All right, so that brings me to rate confirmation sheet. Now, what you have here on the screen is an actual rate confirmation sheet from February 21st, 2025. If memory serves, now I showed you a delivery order. The delivery order that I showed you is actually the delivery order to this rate confirmation sheet. And so moving ahead, the rate confirmation sheet is going to have various, it's going to be pretty much the same. What you're looking for is the agreed upon rate. You're looking for the actual pickup and drop off address, because oftentimes that's what you're going to receive from a broker is a rate confirmation sheet and a delivery order most times. So what you'll notice though is that obviously a lot of stuff has been whited out, but what you'll see in this particular one, there's actually where the company's logo is on the top left. It's going to say from where, from which carrier, which broker that is, and then to the carrier, that's going to be me. It may have in there my MC number. In most cases, it's going to be my MC number, and then it's going to be the driver's name, whom you assigned, or if you're a one-man operation, it's going to be you. And then it's going to have a phone number. They may ask for a truck or trailer number. If you have just one Sprinter van, then you're just going to put truck number 1. Trailer number is going to be not apply. Does not apply. So then you see here, line haul rate. That is something that I've mentioned in several Gig Geezer segments. That is your agreed upon rate. And then it has a description of what you're picking up. There were 2 pallets, 73 by 40 by 40. So that's 6 foot by 40 inches wide by 40 inches high. That was the bigger pallet. And then the second pallet was smaller, 32 by 25 by 20. These are all in standard measurements. Sometimes you see them in metric though, but these are in standard measurements. And so when I got them, they were stacked atop of each other. So then the pickup location is on this particular one was here in Lugoff, South Carolina. And then stop one, which was where I was going, was also in Lugoff, South Carolina, literally right down the street, 2.9 miles away. But that is the basic information that you will see on there. Um, Now, from there, now what you must understand, rate confirmation is what you're going to get. That's one of the documents that you'll need to get paid. The other is going to be proof of delivery, which is going to be a delivery order, a signed delivery order, and or bill of lading. And I say that based on depending on who is the carrier. In this particular delivery situation, the carrier wanted a signed delivery order. In other situations with the same carrier, a signed bill of lading applied. So it almost depends on each delivery that you actually complete. It really does. But you want to have whatever they want in order for their documentation, and then for your documentation so that you be paid. Now, the other items that I did not mention on the rate confirmation sheet, in fact, I'll pull it up again. A couple other things that you may look for. You may look for miles, how many miles that you're driving. Sometimes the miles are different, but it's too late if they give you if they told you one set of miles and then it's actually another set of miles. But then again, too, if you plot out where you're going, you may find a faster route that takes less time and distance, and that has happened a number of times where I've plotted a route that actually cut like 30, 35 miles off of a trip. And then it cut also about a half an hour off of the trip. So that's between you and you only, though. So these are the things that you will need in terms of your money in delivery and transport. You're going to need your delivery order as applicable, a bill of lading as applicable, and your rate confirmation sheet. Then you so as a practice, this is what I'm going to share with you how I have done brokered opportunities. As a practice, I'm sharing with you how I deal with brokered opportunities. And this should answer some questions about proof of delivery and bills of lading. So I arrive at the place. Usually I'll go to the shipping and receiving section of the place. In some places, it may be separate. Shipping on one side, receiving on the other side. From there, from the shipping people, I'm going to get the documents. They may have a bill of lading, or they may have a delivery order. Usually they'll tell me how many pallets I'm picking up. The rate confirmation sheet may describe how many pallets or items that I'm picking up. And the reason why I say that is because I can tell you of a situation in which the rate confirmation sheet, the delivery opportunity, it was described as me picking up 3 pallets. But when I got to the shipper, they had only 1 pallet. They had 1 pallet available. And then that created a little bit of delay in that I couldn't move forward with the actual transport because I didn't have what the broker was looking for. But then they asked me, whom did I speak to? And sometimes they may follow up with a phone call. But then again, when I told the lady whom I was speaking to, and then she made a couple of phone calls, she realized that, hey, I was dealing with the person who knew exactly what was going on. And I actually delivered just 1 pallet. But that happens sometimes. So that's why, but anyway, so you get your documents. There may be a bill of lading. There may be a delivery order. They'll tell you how many pallets that you're picking up. The rate confirmation sheet may describe how many pallets or items that you're picking up as well. As items are brought to my vehicle, and being loaded, that's usually when I'll take a picture of each pallet being loaded. Sometimes I may take a picture of the items that were simply loaded into my vehicle. Then I'll email to the broker the pictures of what was picked up and indicating what I'll do then is email the broker the pictures indicating the items that were loaded, and then I'll give them an estimated time of arrival. So usually they'll say, great. Just let us know when you get there, or how far, when you're not far away, let us know then. So at the drop-off location, I'm going to go to the receiving area. I'm going to go to where the actual drop off address is going to be. And when the forklift operator comes out, or the people come out to get what's out of my vehicle, I'll take pictures of the items that were unloaded. I'll have them sign the delivery order or the bill of lading. I'll also sign whichever applicable. And I did have one broker recently ask me to. This is I mentioned I may have mentioned it earlier. Well, I did have a situation where a broker asked me to send them the delivery order as opposed to the bill of lading. So what had happened was, when I emailed them with the pictures of the delivery and a signed bill of lading. They wanted the delivery order. So I went back and had to have the delivery order signed by them, and then I signed it, and I did not get any further emails from them. Now, what else? So once that's done, then I am going to upload my invoice to my factoring company. That is the company that's going to ensure that you get paid. Now, the company that I deal with is OTR Solutions. I've dealt with them since March 2023. And basically, the way I've got it set up is that I have non-recourse factoring, meaning that I'm going to get paid regardless of whether they actually pay or not. That's 9.5 times out of 10. But in my experience so far, 10 times out of 10. But what I send to the broker is what I send to them. And usually that satisfies what each side is looking for. Now, I mentioned about a term, net 30. Well, also, let me back up. When it comes to dealing with factoring, you must have a USDOT number or an MC number in order to deal with a factoring company. You will also have to show proof that you have insurance. Your commercial insurance, the desirable $1 million insurance, at least the people that I deal with. The thing with factoring is that once you submit information, you submit what they're looking for, you can look for payment. In my case, the next business day. There is a feature in which you can be paid the same day as your once your invoice has been accepted and cleared by the factoring company. Now, there's another term called net 30. This is what some companies. This is where you hear the horror stories of delivery and transport. In that, net 30 means that you will be paid supposedly 30 days after you've completed the delivery. And when you deal with a carrier, they tell you that you'll be paid. Could be 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. It could be even a month. The thing is that you're waiting on them to pay you. Whereas when you are booking your own brokered opportunities, you have your own MC number, your own DOT number. Again, and the main thing is you are booking your own brokered opportunities. You know that you're going to get paid if you're dealing with a factoring company. Now, net 30 is a term that, like I said, is when you wait 30 days after you've invoiced the company. But there's a lot of horror stories, and this is why people actually deal with a factoring company. Yes, there are fees that are taken out, but it's up to you to shop. But it's up to you to shop around to find the company that best fits your business operations. Now, I've got a couple more things that I've got a few more things that I want to go over in this particular segment of the Gig Geezer. The other is something else that can help you out. I mentioned about DocuSign. I mentioned about Adobe Scan. What you want to do also is you may also want to download or generate your own bill of lading. And the reason for that is this happened to me by experience. I happened to a few days or weeks before this actually happened, I had looked into downloading my own bill of ladings. And when the company doesn't have one and you're trying to protect yourself, this is how you do so. When you have actual copies or access to one by PDF that you can use DocuSign to fill out for yourself, and then you can email it to them and have them to print it out and sign it, and you move on. Or in my case, I happen to just have hard copies, and we filled it out by hand. The next thing, there was mention about airway bill of documents. Now, airway bill of documents are just as there are bill of ladings, in which you deal with delivery and transport. Airway bill documents are when you deal with aircraft, particularly the airports. The biggest issue I've seen with drivers when they when it involves airway bill documents is when they don't have one. The broker has not sent one, they didn't ask about it, or it's been emailed to them, but they didn't print it out. And it's been my experience that there are certain airline carriers at certain airports or in certain places where they will not print that out. You can't email it to them and then they print it out. You got to have it when you get there. That's why some brokers say that you must print out your paperwork. You must print out your own paperwork. So in my case, what has happened, and I'll give you 3 scenarios. Typically for me, since I do mostly regional stuff, if I have an airport run, it may be to Charlotte or Atlanta. And what happens is that, okay, the broker will send me a rate confirmation sheet, but then they'll tell me that the bill of lading and airway bill documents are coming or forthcoming. And so I'm staying on them about that. I'm asking them, hey, what about the airway bill documents? You want to know where I'm at? Give me the damn documents. And usually the airway bill documents have been sent over to me by the time I reach Columbia. So for me, if they get to me when I'm in Columbia, then I can go over to the Geezer compound here in the Geezer office and print them out and then move on to either Charlotte or Atlanta. If I don't get them by then, typically what I'll do is go to some place where I can print out the documents. Sometimes it may be Kinko, but in most places I'm able to go to some public place and print them out for free. Now, what do airway bill documents look like? This is an actual airway bill document. It's usually multiple pages. And but this is what the airlines are looking for. Now, this could be for domestic flight, but it also could, but in most cases, in my experience, it's been for international flights where the actual items that are being shipped to its final destination are abroad. Who knows where? But this IAC cargo certification statement is something that you will have to fill out. Usually, they will tell you that you need to sign it. This AWB number, airway bill number, that is the airline. I found this out over time. But 001 is American Airline. Each airline has an airway bill, has an assigned number for it for airway bill document purposes. Then there's all these other things that really are not of significance for you, but this is a part of the packet. This is actually the manifest that goes with it for delivery purposes, and then these are the labels that are to be affixed on each item or pallet. And then this is another, I guess you say, bill of lading. So that's what that is sometimes what causes for a very long day for drivers when they get to the airport. They've done all that shit to get there, and then they get to the cargo desk, and they tell you, "Where's your airway bill document?" What are you talking about? Then you have to get in contact with the broker for them to generate that. Now, I have also had situations where the broker's customer takes a while for them to generate them as well, that's a bad situation. What else can I share? I know that I've talked for a while though, but this is class. This is also free game. I promise you, this is free game that can help you. Now, it's been my experience when you're dealing with airport deliveries. This is where you may deal with detention time and layover time. Detention time is when you basically when you have to wait more than 2 hours to be unloaded, or even 2 hours to be loaded when you're picking up. Typically, that's when you're in detention time mode, and that's typically when you're in detention time mode. And I would strongly suggest this is when you need to contact the carrier and let them know. The only reason why I say it like that is because, unfortunately, carriers like to play dumb with you when it comes to detention time. This is something I also talked about in another Gig Geezer segment a little over a year ago. Customers, I mean, the brokers will definitely like to move the goalposts in this. They'll tell you one thing, and then you tell them you tell them what you thinking that you're going to be afforded detention time, but they'll say, "Oh no, you didn't wait there long enough, or you didn't tell us that you were in detention time. You're in detention situation." But typically, for the answer your question, typically when it comes to detention time, it's usually an hourly rate that you're going to be paid. But what a lot of them will do is they will prorate that hourly rate. The hourly rate varies according to carriers. So let's say that a company pays $50 an hour once you waited two hours or more. Let's say you waited 45 minutes past. If they do pay, you're going to be paid $37.50. Layover. This is when a broker pays you because you had to spend a night. You had to spend a night waiting until the next day to deliver their freight. And this has to be it has to be approved, but typically what happens is that I give you two scenarios. I happen to go directly from a pickup location to a freight forwarder. When I got there, everyone at the freight forwarder were gone. Even though it said that they were open until 8 o'clock, those people were gone. And so I got in contact with the broker, and he approved it, but they sure as hell don't want to pay $250 a day in that situation. But he did. The other scenario in which I had layover, and there's been multiple scenarios, but this is another one. This is a good one though. I go to a freight forwarder. I ended up waiting more than 3 hours before I was loaded because the customer did not pay a certain fee that was associated with releasing the items to be picked up. Because I waited more than 3 hours, it put me behind schedule. And the place where I had to drop off, I would not have gotten there by the time they closed. And it just so happened when they closed, it was also a holiday weekend. In fact, it was Labor Day holiday weekend. I picked up on a Friday. I had to wait until Tuesday morning, day after Labor Day, when I was able to drop off. Now, to save my hide and put me in a position where I was going to be paid, I also, I'll put it like this. When I had to deal with, I dealt with one broker, but then I also called the broker whom I normally had dealt with and had her in on the conversation. So I had 3 people in on the conversation. Okay. And so I did that because I know that how people would not want to pay. So I delivered on the Tuesday. It was not until Wednesday or Thursday when I was paid, and I really had to go above the broker. What ended up happening was I had to go over the broker whom I dealt with. I had to go over that broker, and then when that broker was slow with paying me, I went over that broker before they said pay him. I was paid 4 days layover because I had to hold that in my vehicle from Friday until Monday. So I got paid, instead of $250 on really what was a bad run on my part. It was a 200-mile run. I was being paid $250. I agreed to $250 like a dumbass. I got bailed out with that $1,000 layover, ended up being paid $1,250. Long story, but you got to understand why these things are these things are necessary to know. So, hopefully I've answered some questions. Hopefully I've answered some questions with this particular segment of the Gig Geezer. And if you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. And again, if you've gotten to this point, thank you. But again, I invite you to join the damn conversation this Wednesday, February 26, 2025 at 9 o'clock Eastern, as I will be speaking with you. I will have more free game to share in that live stream. With that, I'm Inwood Lane, and hopefully I'll be speaking with you on Wednesday.